Let me start with some very forceful and powerful words from the Old Testament prophet Amos. You people hate anyone who challenges injustice and speaks the whole truth in court. You have oppressed the poor and robbed them of their grain. I know how terrible your sins are and how many crimes you have committed. You persecute good people, take bribes, and prevent the poor from getting justice in the courts. Make it your aim to do what is right, not what is evil, so that you may live. Hate what is evil, love what is right, and see that justice prevails in the courts. Amos didn't consider himself a prophet. He was a shepherd who grew fig trees, but he was a man who was on a mission to rail against injustice. Amos was from the kingdom of Judah, but his message was for the kingdom of Israel. At this time, Israel had conquered the territories around it and was experiencing a period of great prosperity. Yet during this time of success and wealth in Israel, there was also an excess of injustice. The poor, who are always badly treated, were experiencing even worse treatment than usual. Amos understood the implications of the greed, selfishness, and injustice, and predicted that one day Israel's sins would catch up with it, and Israel would fall and would be conquered. Amos doesn't pull any punches as he proclaims God's frustration and anger with those who selfishly victimize all those around them. I think that I've always had an overactive sense of justice, or more accurately, injustice. I wish I could say that it comes from an outward desire to see the world around me treat people fairly. But the reality is I don't like it when I feel that I have been unfairly treated. It's rather selfish of me. Of course, this is a real conundrum when you consider that I manage a community center in a neighborhood that struggles with the injustice of poverty, precarious employment, merciless systems, and feelings of vulnerability. I admire people who fight against the injustices of this world, people who carry the burden with passion and who fight to right wrongs. But I confess that it just seems too big, too extensive, too deeply entrenched. How do you fight something that seems to be more the norm than the exception? How do you fight systemic evil? How do you fight systems so pervasive that it is nearly impossible to find the roots of the injustice that they promulgate? Don't get me wrong, I haven't given up on the fight for justice. I certainly prefer the alternative of justice to the pervasive evil that the prophet Amos rails against. On August the 28th, 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. stood before a massive crowd in Washington and professed that he had a dream. In that speech, King declared that now is the time to lift our nation from the quicksands of racial injustice to the solid rock of brotherhood. Now is the time to make justice a reality for all of God's children. King went on to paraphrase Amos, declaring, No, we are not satisfied, and we will not be satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. So let's get practical here. And let me suggest a few simple things that can be done in the struggle against injustice. First of all, be informed. Read something more than Facebook pages and memes. Look not only at news sites, but dig a little. Read some books. Search the internet. Talk to people. Find out about systematic injustice, about the organizations, governments, and agencies that foster injustice through the rules they make and how they conduct business. Consider the systems that are inherently unjust. Maybe it is a system that stands in the way of someone receiving the mental health or medical or counseling care that they need. Maybe it is a process that prevents someone from being able to fill out forms, file documents, make connections, or talk with someone who has answers. Ask God to help you develop a passion for those who face some form of injustice. It can be a simple prayer, such as, Lord, open my eyes to see the everyday injustice that takes place around me. Look around your community, work, family, or neighborhood with the question in mind, how can I make a difference? Get involved. The Journey, Regeneration, Knights Table, North Bramley United, Elizabeth Fry, and on and on and on. There are lots and lots and lots of organizations, agencies, churches, and service clubs who are working to make a difference. Volunteer. I guarantee there comes a satisfaction from giving time to something worthy. Finally, deepen your faith. Read the Bible, pray, and seek to learn, grow, and fellowship with others. You will need this spiritual strength to prevail in the fight for justice. Amos certainly did, and not everyone was on board with what he had to say. Let me end with this question and answer from Micah chapter 6, verse 8. What does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God.